Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Today I'm reading Psalms 1, and I got inspired to read this because my church actually decided to go over this today, and it works so well with the video that I made last week or the week before about dealing with people who gossip and bully. And I'm going to do a brief pause every 3 minutes or so that there's a moment of reflection and also so that I can write a couple things down. So let's get right into reading Psalms 1:1. The way of the righteous and the end of the ungodly. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. I was talking about the people who bully. They are, in James 3, it talks a lot about how people who gossip and slander, it's like their tongues are on fire, and the fire can spread throughout the forest like wildfire. It gets out of control, and one spark can create this whole massive fire. But the way to combat that is not to allow yourself to be lit on fire and then do the same thing back and speak scornfully back and become just like them, also a source of fire. But what you want to do is have yourself well watered, just like it talked about in this passage in Psalm 1, and also water the other people around you. Speak life to them, bless your enemies, turn the other cheek. If they ask for your coat, give them more than what they ask for. If they ask you to go a mile, go 2, etc., etc. And you want to splash the other person with kindness. When we bless our enemies, we put hot coals on their head, but in this case, what you're doing is just putting out that fire, and it makes you untouchable. And if they choose to be the chaff, which the wind drives away, and they choose to be on fire, then that's their thing. But there's also a chance of saving that person. Psalm 2. Why do the nations rage, and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together, against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bonds in pieces, and cast away their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall hold them in derision. Then he shall speak to them in his wrath, and distress them in his deep displeasure. Yet I have set my king on my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said to me, You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, and the ends of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. Now therefore be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are those who put their trust in him. So on this one, I definitely hear Jesus in this one, even though the Psalms are part of the Old Testament. These were written before Jesus. But Jesus referenced these, I believe, when he talks about, you ask yet you do not receive because you ask amiss. I think that references back to this part here where it says, I will declare the decree. The Lord has said to me, You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, the ends of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron, and you shall dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. Because when you ask, you want to ask as a son of God, and you're only the son of your Father when you are imitating him and obeying him and honoring him, right? So when you're asking, you need to be an imitation of him, both externally and internally, and then what you ask for will be aligned with something that he would give a son, which is a good thing. Whatever a gifted father gives to a son is going to be a good one. Psalm 3. The Lord helps his troubled people. A psalm of David when he fled from Absalom his son. Lord, how they have increased who trouble me. Many are they who rise up against me. Many are they who say of me, there is no help for him in God. Selah. But you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory and the one who lifts up my head. I cried to the Lord with my voice, and he heard me from his holy hill. Selah. I lay down and slept. I awoke, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000 people who have set themselves against me all around. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for you have struck all my enemies on the cheekbone. You have broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessing is upon your people. This is really powerful, again, when you are being quote-unquote bullied, which even happens in adulthood. Unfortunately, most of the time you're able to get away from those people, and they're just not in your circle. The kind of people who do that just don't have access to you. But occasionally you are in a situation where you are forced to be with those types of people, and because they're gossiping and because they use these strange manipulation tactics, it can feel like they're turning everyone against you. And that's what gossip feels like as well. It feels like everyone believes the gossip, and that can be scary and painful. But when you have God, and I believe you do have God when you're being his child and when you're imitating him, you're going to be speaking life to people. Your goodness, the fruits of the Spirit are going to be obvious on you, and people aren't going to believe this silly gossip about you. And even if they did, or even if some rumor was actually true about you, people would say, and so what? I love that person. That person exudes joy, has helped me in the past, and I don't care if, whatever you're saying about them, even if it were true, and also I don't believe it, And when you're surrounding yourself with godly people anyway, they're not going to be falling prey to believing gossip anyway. Psalm 4, the safety of the faithful. What I was just talking about. To the chief musician with stringed instruments, a psalm of David. Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. You have relieved me in my distress. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. How long, O you sons of men, will you turn my glory to shame? How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood? Selah. But know that the Lord has set apart for himself him who is godly. The Lord will hear when I call him. Be angry and do not sin. Meditate within your heart on your bed and be still. Selah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. There are many who say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift up the light of your countenance upon us. You have put gladness in my heart, more than in the season that their grain and wine increased. I will both lie down in peace and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Again, it says, be angry and do not sin. It can make you angry when people are bullying you or targeting you in some way, but that doesn't mean that we retaliate. Elsewhere in the Bible it says, vengeance is mine. God's saying, vengeance is his. People seek falsehood. How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood? Yeah, that sounds like gossip to me, and false accusations, just slandering other people. And a lot of times, most of the time when people are doing that, it is made up because it's coming from a place of jealousy, and they can't find anything to say negative to say about you that's actually true, so they'll make something up. But know that the Lord has set apart for himself him who is godly. The Lord will hear when I call to him. So they're setting a trap for themselves, as it says elsewhere in the Bible. You don't mess with God's children. And I've actually relied on that in the past, in a situation that I had at work once, when somebody was trying to defame me and take credit for my work, but I kept helping that person, and eventually I actually got credit for all the work that she did because I had been so actively training her. My manager sat down with me and said, gosh, Jamie, you've done such a great job training this person, and now she's doing so well, and I just want to give you credit for how much you've helped her. So it's just so true. That protection of water makes you like untouchable. Giving water, giving water, giving water. You can't set me on fire. Can't do it. A prayer for guidance. To the chief musician with flutes, a psalm of David. Psalm 5. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Give heed to the voice of my cry, my King and my God, for to you I will pray. My voice you shall hear in the morning, O Lord. In the morning I will direct it to you, and I will look up. For you are not a God who takes pleasure in wickedness, nor shall evil dwell with you. The boastful shall not stand in your sight. You hate all workers of iniquity. You shall destroy those who speak falsehood. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and deceitful man. But as for me, I will come into your house in the multitude of your mercy. In fear of you, I will worship toward your holy temple. Lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make your way straight before my face. For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is destruction. Their throat is an open tomb. They flatter with their tongue. Pronounce them guilty, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Cast them out of the multitude of their transgressions, for they have rebelled against you. But let all of those rejoice who put their trust in you. Let them ever shout for joy, because you defend them. Let those also who love your name be joyful in you. For you, O Lord, will bless the righteous. With favor you will surround him as with a shield. That just goes so perfectly in so many ways with what I just said. People whose throat is an open tomb, they're just speaking death instead of speaking life. And they speak falsehood. They're bloodthirsty and deceitful. But we have protection with the Lord. The boastful shall not stand in your sight. You hate all workers of iniquity. You shall destroy those who speak falsehood. It's just so perfect. I think one thing here I'm looking at is give heed to the voice of my cry. My King and my God, for you I will pray. For to you I will pray. My voice you shall hear in the morning, O Lord. That is something that I am hearing directed at me that I need to speak to him with my voice in the morning. In the morning, I will direct it to you, and I will look up. So recently, I always wondered why people look up a lot of times in animation when they are praying to God, or illustrations and things. But recently, this past couple of weeks, I read it somewhere else in the Bible, look up. And there's also a song that says Look Up Child by Lauren Daigle. And so I've just kind of been wondering about this look up, and actually it is biblical, and this is, I didn't remember reading this before, but it says, and I will look up. So it's just confirmation of a couple of things that yes, I need to do, because I was told earlier this week, yeah, look up. And I think it actually means go outside and look up at the heavens, and look toward God. Something about that. I'll see where that leads me. Psalm 6, a prayer of faith in time of distress. To the chief musician with stringed instruments on an 8-stringed harp, a psalm of David. O Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger, nor chasten me in your hot displeasure. Have mercy on me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are troubled. My soul also is greatly troubled. But you, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver me. O save me for your mercy's sake. For in death there is no remembrance of you. In the grave, who will give you thanks? I am weary with my groaning. All night I make my bed swim. I drench my couch with my tears. My eye wastes away because of grief. It grows old because of all my enemies. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, for the Lord has heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord has heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all my enemies be ashamed and greatly troubled. Let them turn back and be ashamed suddenly. So earlier this past week, my brother has been visiting from New Mexico. He's moving, he's doing kind of a missions trip over in Greece, some humanitarian work, and then moving to Japan for a few years because that's where his wife is from. But I was just talking to my brother about this, depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, but I was quoting it from, I believe, Matthew. It's somewhere in the New Testament where they say, Lord, Lord, have we not done great miracles or works in your name? And God replies, depart from me, I never knew you, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So you see it here, depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, and for the Lord has heard the voice of my weeping. So I've kind of wondered about that verse. Why does he say, I never knew you to some people? And I think that it has to do with how you treated other people. If you are, so I had a really bad problem with one of my neighbors. We had just moved in. We were really happy to a house that we had worked really hard for. We live near Seattle, so it's not like easy to get a house around here. And it's a huge accomplishment that we waited for a long time for, and I feel like God gave it to us, this specific house. And so I was really hurt when our neighbors very specifically rejected us and did not like us because we are Christians and we talk about it and we're open about it. And they made it very clear that they hate us with a vile passion because we are Christians. And so during that time, I prayed a lot and tried to figure out, God, why? Like, why did you create this situation for us, and what am I supposed to do with this? Obviously, he put me here probably partly because of these neighbors. I'm supposed to be here. And a couple of things that I learned is during that time in response is that there's a reason for hell. There's heaven, there's hell, there's judgment day, and I've always thought, well, who deserves eternity? You know, who deserves eternity in hell, really? Because if you have enough time to live in eternity, then you have enough time to live many, many, many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes, being a good guy instead of that one lifetime where you lived a bad life. But it says we get one life and then the judgment. So we live one time, and then it's eternal damnation or eternal salvation, okay? That's how it is, and I've always wondered how that works. And one thing that he showed me is that the reason for hell is because we who are Christians, who are tormented by other people, don't have to be tormented for eternity. We get an escape from those people. And after I learned that lesson, we didn't really have a problem as much anymore with them. Before they were like actively persecuting us and stalking us, and but after I learned that lesson, the reasoning for hell is because at some point we're allowed to be separate from them. You can think of that story of the rich man who has a beggar who's wounded and starving, and the dogs are licking his wounds right outside the gate, and he would love to just have the scraps from their table, and they ignore him and don't provide anything for him. And then in the afterlife, when that rich man dies, he can see that man who always sat at the end of his gate hoping for some scraps, and he asked that man, "Oh, please give me some water because it's hot here in hell, on my way to hell." And the angel replies, "You can't. There's a chasm between you that can't be crossed." And so there's finally separation from people who are evil, who don't choose God. Eventually they run out of chances, so run out of time to make things right. And another thing, depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, those people are blindsided. They think that they are going to heaven, and that's why there's weeping and gnashing of teeth and talking to him like, "But God, we did all these good things in your name." And it does say in many parts of the Bible that certain good works can cover up a multitude of sins, forgive as you want to be forgiven, show mercy as you want to receive mercy, and you'll be judged by the same measure that you judge other people. But for the Lord has heard the voice of my weeping. I think when you cause other people suffering and you cause people to cry out to God, "Return, O Lord, deliver me, oh save me for your mercy's sake," I think those people, that is what hell is reserved for, is allowing us finally a refuge from those people who want to hurt other people. So the Lord has heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all my enemies be ashamed and greatly troubled. Psalm 7. Prayer and praise for deliverance from enemies. A meditation of David, which he sang to the Lord concerning the words of Cush, a Benjamite. O Lord my God, in you I put my trust. Save me from all those who persecute me, and deliver me, lest they tear me like a lion, rending me in pieces, while there is none to deliver. O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there is iniquity in my hands, if I have repaid evil to him who was at peace with me, or have plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue me and overtake me. Yes, let him trample my life to the earth, and lay my honor in the dust. Selah. Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift yourself up because of the rage of my enemies. Rise up for me to the judgment. you have commanded. So the congregation of the people shall surround you. For their sakes, therefore, return on high. The Lord shall judge the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness, and according to my integrity with me. O let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end. Establish the just, for the righteous God tests the hearts and minds. My defense is of God, who saves the upright in heart. God is a just judge, and God is angry with the wicked every day. If he does not turn back, he will sharpen his sword. He bends his bow and makes it ready. He also prepares for himself instruments of death. He makes his arrows into fiery shafts. Behold, the wicked brings forth iniquity. Yes, he conceives trouble and brings forth falsehood. He made a pit and dug it out. He has fallen into the ditch which he made. His trouble shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down on his own crown. I will praise the Lord according to his righteousness, and I will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. And boy, let me tell you, I did. Because those things that I mentioned to you, yes, I praise God, I thank God in my suffering, and I had faith that if I keep following on his path, he's the way, the truth, and the life. And it has worked out for me. That is a testimony which I've shared what happened to me at work, what happened to me with my neighbors. And the story with the neighbors is still, we are still neighbors. So there's more to this story that's still unfolding. But yes, I have had many times where I am rejoicing and thanking the Lord because of how he's made things turn out for me. Psalm 8. The glory of the Lord in creation, to the chief musician on the instrument of Gath, a psalm of David. And I just want to interject one more thing about that. If you're not in a place where you're rejoicing, you're just not in that place yet. And sometimes I've had my stories sometimes where I've been severely wronged and had like decades of suffering. I had rough things happen in my childhood, and so much pain, so many years, but they weren't wasted, because at the end of all of those years, when I turned 27, I became a Christian, and it wouldn't have happened had I not gone through all of that tumult. And after I got saved, I remember realizing how it all made so much sense now, why I went through all those things, and feeling so much gratitude for all of that suffering because it was so worth it. If the reward is God and salvation, anything's worth it. Like I said, eternity is a very long time. And life with God is so, not just better, but it's a whole different thing. It's an entirely different thing. It's life versus a counterfeit life. So the glory of the Lord in creation, to the chief musician on the instrument of Gath, a psalm of David. Psalm 8. O Lord our God, how excellent is your name in all the earth, who have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and nursing infants you have ordained strength, because of your enemies, that you may silence the enemy and the avenger. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you visit him? For you have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, even the beasts of the field, birds of the air and the fish of the sea that pass through the paths of the sea. O Lord our God, how excellent is your name in all the earth. So my grandma actually was the first person to talk to me about God and about supernatural things. And to a lot of people, people who haven't experienced it, that sounds totally crazy. And so she was the first person who showed me all the crazy, because she has had multiple supernatural experiences, and we had this really close relationship when I was little. And one of the things that I made her say a lot as I reminded her of this verse, out of the mouth of babes. She would always quote that when I would say something that touched her, and because we would talk about God, and then children have this way where they say things that are so sweet and innocent, but so good sometimes, you know? So you have, or out of the mouth of babes and nursing infants, you have ordained strength because of your enemies, that you may silence the enemy and the avenger. Yeah. This part too is really personal for me. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him? When I had my supernatural experience where God took me up and I was in his presence and I experienced the Holy Spirit and being in the presence of God, I, after that experience, I was so blown away. Everything that I believed was totally toppled over. I just, it's hard to put it into words. I can't say it all in one sitting. But one of the things that I thought to myself is, why me? Imagine this, there's a God who created every atom in a universe that is continuously expanding. He holds every atom together by his will. He made all the laws of physics. He's existed, I guess, timelessly, before time. So way back, if outer space and Earth and all that really is billions of years old, he existed all that time away, and he knows everything that's happened in between. The little ways that he works in my life are amazing, because I think everything that's ever happened in the history of time had to align perfectly for that little coincidence or word from him to have aligned, for that thing to have happened in my life. I don't think that it's like a work in progress and he's like stitching it together as he goes. I think that he already designed it. But I could be wrong on that. But the point is that I was just thinking, the God, the creator of all human beings, the creator of all things, took a moment, anytime, to even acknowledge that I exist. There's this great song, and it says, he knows my name. It's like so incredible that, this verse says, what is man that you are mindful of him? Like, why? I mean, he paid me any attention at all. Like that, I was crying tears of gratitude for like 6 months after that. Just because of that piece of it, like that he knows my name. And the Son of Man, that you visit him, and he did visit me. And my grandma has been visited as well. Just, I don't know why it doesn't happen for everybody. I think in my case, I was very set in my ways. I was very much like Saul before he became Paul. I I think that it was necessary for me to ever become a believer. So in my instance, it's pretty obvious why I had a supernatural experience, because that's the only way that I would have ever turned to God or believed that he exists. And so he gave that to me when I earnestly asked and I prayed in the name of Jesus. I said, I need to know if you're real. I need to know right now. And he finally answered my prayer. The first time that I had sought God in that way was when I was about 5 or 6, because of my grandma, because of what my grandma was telling me and what happened to her, where she was visited supernaturally, and she had a different experience where she was lifted off her bed. She didn't have a sort of out-of-body experience in the way that I did, where I had more of a vision that, you know, is very long. You can see my testimony videos if you want to hear more about that. But we both had those experiences where it's undeniable, like God is real, and it's amazing, and he visits, like it says here, and the Son of Man that you visit him. Okay, so we got through Psalms 1 through 8, and I think that's a pretty good Bible study for today. So go ahead and subscribe, and we'll do more Bible studies together in the future. And have a good afternoon, morning, evening.